A fault is a weakness, a defect, a fracture. Faults divide, tear, and consume. Here in the city of Chester's Chasm, we struggle to maintain that precarious balance over the precipice in the earth, in our lives, and in our hearts. This story is about 4 teenagers with faults of their own.
The fault between my faith and freedom.
The fault between my family and identity.
The fault between my life and death.
The fault between my guilt and revenge.
As these fractures grow, we stand at the edge and ask, what must we sacrifice to sate the void's endless hunger? Is it possible that the answer lies within all our faults? Greetings, and welcome to All Our Faults, a Monster Hearts 2 actual play podcast from the Tabletop Talespinners network. I am your hostess, MC, and producer, Mistress Winter. Friendships are just as difficult, if not more, to maintain the romantic ones, especially when there are a half-dozen time zones in the way. Syncing up schedules in order to dedicate time to one another is near impossible to do on the regular. It can feel like it uses twice the energy to keep up communications with many different people. Otherwise, the tensions ramp up, miscommunications and doubts begin to seep in through the cracks. Under that kind of pressure, some relationships fizzle out, and others practically explode. And it's the kind of situation that our teens are facing. Saline has left Powerline to rendezvous with Michael at a local restaurant under the guise of returning his car, more injurious intent. Meanwhile, Crispin is adjusting to life away from his church and with his new roommate, Solomon. Shoutouts and thank yous after the show. Chapter 18. Showdown at Vyd del Dia. Jump back over to Crispin and Solomon, who have had your breakfast and are free to go about your day. Do you have any plans? Anything you wish to do?
So for Crispin, he is still wrapping his head around the last 24 hours. I think he'll, unless specifically approached by Dr. Miller or Solomon, he'll spend a lot of time reading, exploring the cabin. Actually, I would like to have a conversation with Dr. Miller after a few hours of reading and reflecting and really starting to get not suspicious, but like uncomfortable, just like something feels wrong. He'll approach Dr. Miller. I'm so sorry to interrupt. Do you have a minute?
Of course. Though I do have an appointment in town in about an hour.
Oh, I won't take up that much of your time. Have you spoken to my father or Father Miller at all?
In very brief conversation. I have let them know that you are safe and under my care.
And that was it? They were fine with that?
I did not give them the great opportunity to respond.
Crispin has never considered that was an option before. So the fact that this woman just is dunking on Father Miller and his dad, essentially, is really, oh God, it's really exciting in a terrifying way. And he'll say, is there anything you need me to do while you're gone? Or I hate to just sort of sit around when you've been so generous. Is there anything I can do? Any chores you want me to do? Or I feel I don't want to be idle.
She very gingerly closes the file that she had in her lap that she had been reading over and studying.
Do I notice anything about the file before she closes it? Like, does anything catch my eye?
You want I'll give you a choice. Either cold or dark.
First roll with the new skin. I'm gonna roll dark.
Yeah.
Because I'm good at that now. Not that good. So that was 2 4s for 8, 10.
Whoa. Nice.
Old Crispin could never.
New Crispin is kind of a badass.
New Crispin. We know him. We love him.
The file is on Barbara Holcomb. How does your gaze into the abyss manifest? Is there a difference from our little knight?
So, our little knight Crispin was very sweet and naive, which is why he fucking sucked at dark. New Crispin is aware of the depths of evil that exist in the world, and he's gonna prevent it. And to fight evil, sometimes you have to be a little evil. So I think there's a little bit of a sneaking, like, as he's talking to Dr. Miller, he notices the file in her lap, and he continues the conversation in a way where he can kind of scoot closer and just sort of peek at it in a way he absolutely would never have dared to before.
I love it. I love it. This very surreptitious, new, like, almost James Bond shit from Crispin. Your eyes, in those quick glances, scan over the text and pull out key words and phrases. You don't get to see the whole thing, but you get enough context that you get kind of a background on Barbara Holcomb. Parents died when she was young in the care of an uncle who is an alcoholic. No signs of sexual abuse, but domestic abuse calls have been made. Do you have any specific question with your full success?
So I'm assuming that this is like a client file because Dr. Miller is a therapist. She's not just my therapist, she's a therapist. I feel like a smarter person would have a really good question for this. Mostly just like, is there anything that I can catch about, is she connected to the church at all? Is she, besides yearbook club, is there anything in the file that would connect her to me or my friends? Like, is she part of the church? Is she other things that matter to other people? Any spiderweb connections?
Nothing in just the client file sticks out. However, in the margins of the file is the word famine circled.
Really? I hate you. I feel lied to. I feel betrayed. Cool. That's weird. Yeah, Crispin will just kind of tuck that in his little mind palace, and he'll just kind of reiterate, is there anything you need me to do? Any chores? Anything I can get done while you're gone?
She finally closes the file. To be perfectly honest, you have already been accomplishing it. I want you to work on yourself. Use this place as a place to build your confidence, to reflect, to center yourself. And now you may have a sparring partner if you wish to make use of the facilities downstairs.
Crispin will blanch at that because the thought of physical violence is so scary. He's a lover, not a fighter. But he'll sort of nod and go, okay, I don't really know how to do any of that, but I will give it my best shot. Thank you. And he'll go to turn away, and before he is fully out of the room, he'll turn back and go, can you do me one favor while you're in town?
Of course.
Are you familiar with my friends, Saline and Michael and Bert?
I'm aware of them, yes.
They were out in the woods last night with me, and I'm really worried. If you just while you're running errands or whatever you're doing, just if you hear anything about what was going on in the woods last night, other than my vigil, could you just kind of see if you hear anything about any of them?
I will bring you what news I come across. Though, you may wish to seek that out yourself. I can take you into town if you wish.
Crispin considers that for a minute, but I think the allure of having this retreat is too much. And he's afraid that if he goes into town, he'll be spotted by his father or someone else and they'll make him go home. So I think
Gotcha.
he's going to say, no, that's okay. I'll just try to call them later, I guess. I'm going to go get to know our new house guest, as you suggested earlier. Drive safe.
Thank you. And she will wait for you to depart before you hear her heels clicking as they head out the door.
Crispin will schlep down the hall and just give a quick, sharp knock on the door to the room that Solomon is inhabiting.
Question.
Answer.
Can I have used my heightened senses to listen in on that conversation?
Ooh, give me a dark.
Spicy.
Yeah. That's a fun time. Let's see. So that's a 4 total.
Ooh. You hear a majority of the words, but you don't necessarily get the context and the intention behind them. So from your end, it's just a pretty boring conversation about Dr. Miller having an appointment in town and whether or not Crispin was going to join or what he was going to do for the day.
At the knock, I go, come in. That's the right way to do that, right? Yeah.
Oh, my sweet summer child. Crispin will pop open the door and he'll kind of stick his head in a very 80s parent comedy way.
You'll see him in the middle of the room, shirtless, sweating a lot, doing handstand push-ups.
Whatever Crispin was about to say dies in his throat as he observes this, and his brain seems to short circuit for a hot second before he goes, "Hey, buddy, I just wanted to check on you and see how you're settling in. But you seem to be doing fine. I can come back later if you're busy. You seem like you're kind of in the zone here."
No, I'm not. I'm just doing my workout.
Do you continue working out as we're talking?
Yeah.
Incredible. As Solomon is continuing his workout, Crispin will kind of awkwardly step into the room and I think he senses that Solomon has sort of staked a claim here, so he's not going to sit on anything or make himself comfortable at all, because that feels presumptuous. But he'll just sort of lean against the wall and go, so tell me about yourself. I just got here last night. Dr. Miller and I have known each other for years. She's been really, really wonderful to me. She's provided a lot of support through the years, and but that's about me. Tell me about you. So awkward, so uncomfortable. No idea what he's doing with himself.
I'll stop and I'll lower myself to the ground into a regular push-up. It's very fluid. He does this all the time.
Crispin would never admit it, but he's so impressed.
And then I sort of do one, and then I stand up. The name Solomon. I don't know. There's not much else. I've lived in the forest my whole life, so
Solomon was a great king in the Bible. Solomon, your name, Solomon. You were probably named after King Solomon from the Bible.
I was named after my grandpa.
Oh, that's cool too. Yeah.
What's the Bible?
That is such a loaded question for Crispin, and he'll just say, "Oh, well, it's." So that's a really interesting, complex question. So the Bible as a concept, and he's going to go on this long diatribe about the Bible is a book versus the Bible is a belief system versus the Bible is a moral like cheat sheet, and he's going to be completely oblivious to the fact that Solomon probably doesn't care, doesn't understand half of what he's saying.
After you say complex, he's zoned out.
Yeah, no, I'm sure Solomon is fully gone for this entire conversation. Like 20-minute monologue about the Bible, and then he'll kind of round it out with like, I'm sure there's a few copies in Dr. Miller's office, or I'm sure there's a library in this giant house. I would love to show you sometime. Are you a big reader?
I can read.
That's great. That's a great start.
You know some place to eat in this town or something?
I mean, yeah, we're a little far out. I mean, if you're still hungry, I can absolutely go get us some lunch. I mean, it's only like 10:30, so we just ate a couple hours ago, but like...
I eat a lot. I take the blanket off the bed, and I use that to wipe the sweat off of my body, and then I just throw it back on the bed, and then I put my shirt on, and I button it this time. In fact, I forgot to mention, but you notice there's this, like, necklace that he has on. It's not a necklace a person like him would wear. It was what it seems like. There's a pendant on it that has a moon, the full moon. The pendant is of the full moon. And he buttons it up, leaves the top two undone so that little bit of chest shows. And he's like, all right, let's go then. I need to eat more after a workout. And I burn a lot of calories a day. I need to eat a lot.
Yeah, okay. Crispin will stop by the kitchen real quick and probably isn't feeling real good about eating steaks twice in one day, let alone this close to each other. And he'll just say, I mean, I kind of tapped out my culinary abilities this morning. Yeah, let's go find you something to eat, I guess. And has Dr. Miller already left, or can we still catch a ride with her?
Yeah. You find a set of keys available and head next door to a separate garage where a large Humvee is parked.
I have to assume that Crispin does not have his driver's license.
Fair enough.
And I would assume Solomon doesn't either.
Oh, that's true. Okay, so rideshare it is then?
Yeah. I was thinking about it, and I was like, as cool as it would be to just take this Humvee, there's no part of me that thinks Crispin would have his driver's license.
No, that's totally reasonable, considering Crispin. And Solomon never have taken driver's ed. All right, so you'll call for an Uber or whatever on your app. Uber, Lyft, we're not sponsored by any of those, just FYI.
Generic rideshare service.
Yeah.
Solomon doesn't have a phone either.
That's true. That's true. Would be something that we have to remedy. But I'm sure Dr. Miller will provide. And you will take off, I assume, toward Vyd del Dia, being that the lunch lady, Miss Juanita, is a place of safety for you.
Yeah.
And that's where she'd be working on the weekends.
And she usually gives me free food, so...
Free apps all around. Michael, you have pulled up outside Vyd del Dia with William, who has agreed to wait in the car. And you see Saline has pulled up in your car outside the Latino African fusion restaurant.
God, that food sounds so good.
I know.
I will get out of William's car. What kind of car does William drive?
A Crown Victoria.
Oh my God, that fucking boat. I love it. Okay. Yeah, the big heavy door, long door will like swing open. I'm imagining like rectangular paneling.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's an old car. It's probably a hand-me-down from grandpa or something. Who knows?
Oh, absolutely.
Is it brown?
Yep.
Perfect. Michael will, with some trepidation, get out of the car, stand up, and walk over to his own car where Saline is.
As you approach, Saline is pointedly not looking to the side that you are walking up on, and she will get out of the car and lock it and kind of be swinging your keys around in her fingers and just stare you down.
Saline, I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me, and I'm sorry if I scared you, and I know I did.
I will throw your keys at you.
He won't even bother catching them. He'll let them fall. Are you okay?
No, Michael, I'm not okay.
And it doesn't, but if it helps, me neither.
I think that my not okay is a little different than yours.
It is. I don't know why I treated you that way, and it was the worst possible time.
Crispin is terrified of me now. I've lost complete access to the Fey realm and can't even contact my father. I am trapped in the mortal realm with the thing that's hunting me. Oh, and Bert's gone.
What?
And as I'm talking, I will pull out Bert's ring and put it on my finger. It has blood on it, right? His blood?
Yes, it does.
What happened? What happened to Bert?
I would love to know the answer to that question as well.
Can I gaze into the abyss to see if I can sense where Bert is? Because I drank from him. I should be able to know something.
Sure, yeah. Gaze into the abyss.
That's plus dark, right?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, okay. So I'm going to say thank you. I'm using a die that was gifted to me by Gamer Mom Luna at PAX East. And with her die plus mine, I got a 10 roll minus 1. So that's a 9.
You get pretty much the same information. The last known location of Bert was the underworld, a place that you became familiar with very recently, or at least acquainted with very recently, and he has not left it.
He's out of reach.
Yeah, I got that. Thanks.
We'll have to do something. But first, I don't know how to explain why I was the way I was.
I don't care what possible reason you have for acting like that. I thought you were my friend, Michael.
I am.
That's not how friends act. I haven't had a lot of them, but I do know that that's not how they act.
I know. And Crispin, I don't think he will be afraid of you forever.
Crispin doesn't understand what he saw.
Of course not.
Crispin is terrified and going to make his own fucked up assumptions about what happened. And there is nothing that I or you or anyone else can do to fix those assumptions.
We could tell him the truth.
He's in a fucking cult. You really think that telling him the truth will make him think anything other than, I don't know, we're the epitome of evil?
I don't know. It may be hopeless. I don't know that it is. But he seems different from them.
He did. And then he saw what I did. He saw what you did. And he looked at us. He looked at me the same way they all do. And that is your fucking fault. And I will approach Michael and I'm going to, with the hand that the silver ring is on, I am going to punch him in the face.
Roll me a lash out physically.
I would love to. Is that volatile?
Yes, it is.
That's amazing. 8.
With an 8, you deal the harm, but choose one. Either Michael learns something about your true nature and gains a string on you. I decide how the harm turns out, or you become your darkest self.
While you're thinking, Michael can see the punch coming. I don't think he sees the ring, or thinks about the ring on your hand, but he is absolutely letting you hit him.
I don't think it's the time for the darkest self, as my darkest self causes me to run away from everyone all the time, and we're just now bringing everyone back together. So, maybe not that one.
And this is a good moment of agency, too. You don't have fear.
Exactly. For once. She's clawing her way out of the victimhood that is dragging her down.
Love that.
I'm trying to think if there's anything about Saline's true nature that Michael doesn't know.
We could. Just let me decide how the harm turns out.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm gonna go with.
Perfect. The ring on your finger, being silver in and of itself, connects with Michael's vampiric flesh and burns. But also being a former Reaper's weapon, there is this cancellation effect that comes with it. Death is all about preserving the cycle, a natural cycle of which Michael is not a part anymore. So when the ring connects, there is a burst of positive energy, if we want to put it in that kind of context. And the side of Michael's face just caves in on itself. Take 2 harm.
Oh, shit.
Simultaneously, the rideshare that is carrying Crispin and Solomon to the scene has stopped, and they are climbing out at the moment of this punch.
So we fully see the punch? Like, you guys are outside in the
yes.
parking lot? Okay, great. Crispin is going to clock his friends in the parking lot and then clock this absolute smackdown that Saline is putting on Michael. And for a moment, a breath, he's going to forget everything that happened last night. He is going to bolt out of this rideshare, not say thanks, not give them 5 stars. Like, he's just gonna run over. And obviously not quickly enough to stop Saline, but he is going to impulsively grab her wrist and kind of like pull her up and just go, "What are you doing?"
Michael falls to the ground. I don't know what William's doing at the moment.
Oh, right, William's there.
William is halfway out of the car now, still behind the door, so still hesitant because you did tell him to stay in the car, but instinctually he wanted to come to your aid, so he's halfway out of the vehicle.
Michael is like picking himself back off the ground, face just a wreck. I am sorry. Fortunately, that is not the worst I have had in the last 24 hours.
I'm not even acknowledging Crispin. Like, I am just fighting to try and get away from him, keeping my eyes in a dead stare on Michael and just, oh, that's not the worst. I can make it a whole lot worse.
No, you can't.
Don't fucking test me, Michael.
Question.
Yes, Solomon.
I'm assuming that these are 2 of the smells that I recognize coming from these 2 people.
No. The one smell that you do recognize is from Saline.
Mm-hmm.
However, you do recognize the other 2 from the night before. Not the sense, but their actual appearance.
I'll walk up to Saline, whose name I don't know yet, but, oh, you're that girl from before.
I think on hearing that, Crispin needs to roll to keep his cool.
Please do. What is Crispin afraid of, or what is affecting Crispin's psyche in this moment?
As far as Crispin knows, Solomon is just some dude who lived in the woods. So for him to be like, hey, you're that girl from before, like, oh, hell no. That's going to be a hard pass for me, my guy. And that's cold?
Yes.
Okay, I'm good at that now, too. I am, however, bad at rolling. So that's a 5.
You're about to lose your shit, so please explain for the class how Crispin loses his shit.
So still with a hand around Saline's wrist, trying to keep her from pummeling Michael more, Crispin is going to round on Solomon and just go, "You know her? What do you mean you know her?"
Saline is physically fighting Crispin to try and get out of his grasp, by the way.
I'm happy to do a contested physical roll for this, but like, I'm holding you, but you are so far down on my list of priorities right in this moment.
Crispin, give me a volatile.
Cool. I think I suck at that still. Yeah, still suck at that.
Suck at that.
Do we all suck at that?
Nope, it's my best stat.
I still get a 10.
It's a 10. Nice. Crispin has an iron grip on Saline.
Like, I'm not trying to hold you still, but my arm is going wherever it needs to go to maintain my grip, but I'm just not letting you, like, reel back for another punch. But my eyes are so focused on Solomon. What do you mean you know her? How could you know her?
A couple of questions before I continue with Solomon. Is this at all threatening? Is this at all, like, aggressive?
It certainly could be read as aggressive, but it isn't. And if you knew Crispin, you would know that this is coming from a place of, like, fear and confusion and, like, starting to kind of re-put the pieces together of everything he saw last night, everything that's happened over the last 24 hours, his two friends that he loves but is currently scared shitless of are fist fighting in a parking lot. Our boy's going through it. He's having a day. So I think if you are used to people coming at you from a place of aggression, you could certainly read it as aggressive.
Wonderful.
I'm going to regret saying that.
This is like a composed look, but with, like, such a heavy undertone of don't fuck with me, as he turns to look at you and he goes, I would take the tone out of your voice when you speak to me. I don't know her. I've seen her in my home.
Crispin balks at that for sure. He knows that Solomon is from the woods, and he knows that we were all in the woods last night. So, like, that checks out. But still getting the ick. So Crispin will sort of size up Solomon, kind of look him up and down. And he's not going to say anything, but he will return his attention to Saline and repeat the question, what the fuck are you doing? And I think this might be the first time anybody's ever heard him swear.
Saline doesn't even notice in the mindset that she's in. She is just fighting you to try and get away. And just, maybe you should stay out of things that you don't understand, Crispin.
Michael, where are you in this?
Yeah, I think Michael has just been standing up, restraining himself, because he knows he fucked up. But none of them know what he has been through in the last 24 hours. And he is at his wit's end with everything.
How carefully is Michael hiding his new wound?
He's not. He's so focused on maintaining composure, and I don't think he even realizes how bad it is.
Give me a keep your cool, if you will, please.
I was thinking that. My cold is a 1, so that's a 7.
You are, as you said, fighting to restrain yourself, and may realize that you've got this gaping wound that would have killed any other person, or at least horrifically maimed them. Though your body is slowly knitting it back up, especially from your fresh feeding recently, you are exposed to a mortal, well, 2 mortals, possibly.
Strangers, at least. Well, stranger and a mortal, yeah.
Who are not, to your knowledge, initiated into the world of the supernatural. So I will let you decide how to proceed.
I am sorry, Saline, for what I did. But you were not the only one with problems. That hurt, and I deserved it. I get it.
And he'll, like, reach up to touch his face, and I think that's where he's like, he pauses, and he'll keep his hand up.
I might need to go.
And I think he's sort of at a loss for what to do next. Because he's sort of in the middle of this parking lot, face caved in. There's probably blood, like, pouring down. Like, he felt wetness and reached up, and then it's just like, oh, shit. Do I need to run away?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll to run away, at least. Let's do that. Runaway, that is plus... Is it hot? Or volatile?
Volatile.
Then that's an 8.
So you will get away, but you run into something worse, you cause a big scene, or you leave something behind.
I cause a big fucking scene.
Hell yeah, you do. Dropping blood everywhere.
Yeah, I'll reach down with, like, my one hand covering my face, the other hand going down to pick up the keys, and, like, run through them. I imagine that kind of knocks Saline over, and, like, blood, like, splatters on Crispin and Solomon. And I can imagine in my head, like, William running from his car, like, shouting, as I run to my car and just peel away.
Leaving William staring after the speeding car, flabbergasted. And being the timid, demure person that he is, he turns back to the group and heads back to his car, jumps in, and carefully drives back home, leaving the three of you dazed and lost in the streets.
Yeah, that's interesting. Are you two friends?
Crispin's going to ignore that in favor of trying to get Saline to look at him. And he's going to go, what is happening? This isn't like you.
Saline's on the ground, right? She got shoved to the ground.
Okay, I probably would have let you go when that happened. So I will crouch down to try to help you up.
I definitely push you away.
When Saline shoves him off, Crispin is so taken aback that I think he sprawls on his ass in the asphalt. And that's enough for him. These people who he has cared about, who he has loved deeply, and are maybe his first experience with love, because God knows his parents are whatever the hell their deal is. And he's just done. So he's going to sit there for a moment and go, you know what? Fine. I'm not a part of this. I've never been a part of this. So there you go. Your day is yours. I'm done. And he's going to get up and he's going to kind of like jerk his head at Solomon, come along, and he's going to march into the restaurant to get some tacos and talk to Juanita and just not be part of this.
Can you give me a shut someone down, please?
That's also cold?
Yes, it is.
Hey, I'm good at that. I'm so excited. Can you tell I'm so excited? 7, so not amazing.
Still a partial success. So shutting someone down, you come across poorly, but you still succeed. They give you a condition in return. So Saline, if you will give Crispin a condition, while Crispin, you choose one of the following. Either they lose a string on you, or you gain a string on them if Saline doesn't have a string on you. Give Saline a condition or take it forward.
I'm torn between taking another string on her and forcing her to lose her string on me.
Well, I think that if she has a string on you, then she has to lose it before you can gain a string.
Okay, then I'll take the string from her. I think narratively that makes the most sense.
I have 2 strings on you, actually.
Well, you lose one of them.
I'm just giving you a heads up.
I'm taking it back.
Also, I hate giving people conditions.
Bitch, all of my conditions almost came from you.
Have they?
Yeah, many of them. At least 2. Of the 5 I still have.
I still hate doing it. What conditions do you have?
Oh boy, let's go through them again.
Damn, I've been really mean to you.
I am sensitive, forked tongue, holier than thou was definitely from you.
Yeah, it was. I remember that one.
Drank the flavor aid was from Winter, and then Boy Who Cried Wolf.
I think I've only given you one of those.
I think you gave me I Am My Father, but I dealt with that one, so that one's gone.
I think so too.
And I'm also going to say that you've resolved drank the flavor aid.
Yes! Hell yeah!
I'm going to give you the condition. I'm trying to think of a way to condense it. Yeah, maybe just none of your business. But I do think that as he goes off, I will call out his name. Crispin. But that's it.
And it goes ignored.
Solomon, you had one last thing.
I'll just squat if Saline is still on the ground. And I'll look at you really like intently, gauging you. And I just go, those are your friends?
You were. Not so sure anymore.
You know, I seen you out in the forest at that weird portal thing. And then I believe you were chased by something big. Huh.
Oh, that's correct.
There's one thing my life's taught me. Friends are hard to come by. Seems like you've been through a lot. Seems like they've been through a lot. Sometimes things are best resolved over an open deer carcass or a hot meal, whichever comes first. Point is, if you want to have those things not happen anymore, and I'm only saying this to you because you're the only one here, everybody else left. Sometimes you just need to fight it out and then hug it out, you know?
Thanks for the advice, random stranger.
Solomon,
Solomon. Thank you for the advice.
if you ever need help, just give me a howl. And then I stand up and walk in.
We will cut the scene there as Crispin and Solomon enter into Vyd del Dia, leaving Saline sprawled out in the parking lot and Michael peeling away. Thanks, as always, to the Tabletop Talespinners Network and director Emma Kocar for all your support and our home. Shout out to our wonderful social media queen, Juicy Garland, for all that you do for us. The cast of this chapter included Abby Marie Carter as Saline, Extell as Solomon, Juicy Garland as Michael, and Kat Kelly as Crispin. I have been your MC, hostess, and producer, Mistress Winter. You can find our socials in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and I hope that your heart finds love and comfort until we meet again. This has been a tale from the Tabletop Talespinners Network.